Hi there, everyone. We're the Blasphemy broadcast. We're bringing back another exciting lightning round of podcasts to you. This is the Blasphemy broadcast podcast.
Is this
Yeah.
actually being recorded?
Yep.
Oh,
That
so we're on.
that was our intro.
Okay, well, you can tell how much we're focused.
The broadcast podcast.
Yeah.
Aw, yeah. Anyways,
So,
what up?
I decided the title for this episode should be God and Other Philosophical Musings. I didn't want it really to be a structured thing. I don't know how he feels on it.
Yeah. I can do whatever. I don't really care.
So, the, when the the number one question is of the week for me at least, especially living in the deep south and working at a place where you would expect to find a lot of traditional Christian values.
Mmm. Yeah.
It's finally come out that I am not a Christian
Uh,
after six months of employment.
that's actually kind of impressive. You kept it that long.
I know, I know. Well, I have I won't say extensive. I have a fair knowledge of the Bible, so I kind of just
BS'd it,
BS'd it
more or
through.
less.
Which I have read it. I won't.
Yeah, I read about half of it.
I read the whole thing, but I can't remember it. Just like I can't tell you an exact line from The Hobbit. Like I can't remember. I can remember the overall ideas
Hmm.
and certain parts, but I can't remember cite specific verses. Interestingly enough, though,
Hmm.
I know many things other people don't. Like I actually know the Ten Commandments, and most Christians I know don't know the Ten Commandments.
Yeah, but think about it. What are the Ten Commandments really? I mean, they're just a basis to live your life on. That's not that but.
Well, yeah, if you're Jewish, I mean, let's not forget the first five books of the Bible are the Torah,
No, they're not.
which is the foundation of Judaism. So
I don't. Hmm. Well, I'm sure there's something you wanted to speak about today. So
you've got Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Deuteronomy, and I want to say Numbers. I could be wrong. I don't remember the order of them. But yeah, the most common question for people, like everywhere, seems to be, "Do you believe in God?"
well,
This is a loaded question, and I often say that it's a
just
load.
about just about everything we've asked so far has been a loaded question.
Like this. First of all, why do you want to know? Is the first thing I think when someone asks me. Like,
Hmm. Because
wh-
I want to know if you share a common interest with them.
why exactly? So I can only think of two possible reasons you would ask someone if they believe in God. Either A, you want to put them into category and think you know something about them and you can fit in with them or not fit in with them.
Hmm.
Or B, you're not sure yourself, so you want someone else's input to help you on your spiritual journey, in which case it wouldn't be, I don't think, ethically right to tell you because you're supposed to figure that shit out for yourself. Like, but in any case,
Yeah.
it's something I get asked a lot, and I'm sure you get asked it a lot.
I try and brush it off because confrontation with what I'm doing would be really not.
Yeah, it's hard though, and when you say it's a loaded question, the asker looks confused.
I don't even say that. I just say, because I don't even want to get into it with most people at work.
And I'm not one of those people who says, you shouldn't talk about this stuff in the workplace. I actually think it's
Yeah.
one of the best places to exchange ideas is
Yeah.
is the workplace because most people they work and then they go home
Hmm.
and then they don't interact with other people on like a social dynamic except for people who agree with them.
Huh.
Like they'll interact with people who agree with them because their friends agree with them or their church agrees with them or what have you,
Hmm.
but they don't talk to people who don't agree with them. So you get people who are in these little bubbles, these
Y-
little islands.
Yeah.
So I think if you can be an adult and have a civil conversation and not pout and cry and get angry when someone doesn't agree with you,
Yeah.
you
See, that's the problem, though. A
you
lot of adults are just big children. They
yeah,
can't really they can't really deal with people's differing opinions.
not to nerd out, but it's like Star Wars. It's they make that like you remember that scene where Anakin and Obi-Wan are about to fight, fuck each other shit up, and Anakin's like you're either with me or against me. And
Yeah.
Obi-Wan says only Sith deal in absolutes.
Yeah.
People don't have like a concept of neutrality or an in between. It's either completely one way or completely another.
Well, yeah. There's
There's no Switzerland.
Right.
You're either Germany or you're the Allies. Like, there's no... Oh, what's that fucking rule with mentioning World War II in every single conversation?
I don't remember. I remember like the Hitler argument. At some point, it all devolves into Hitler.
But they make it like it's black and white. Well, either you agree with me or you don't. And, you know, I think it's good to talk about such things in the workplace because that's the best place to exchange ideas if you can be an adult about it.
Right.
I mean, I had a situation happen to me the other day. I was at lunch, and I don't trust American news outlets. That's just me. I own because you have Fox News, which kind of acts as like the media branch for the Republican Party.
Right.
And then CNN and MSNBC pretty much act like the Democratic Party's media outlet. So they're both partisan. I go with like the BBC, Al Jazeera, or Russia Today, or some agency that doesn't have a vested interest
right.
in the political system of America. It doesn't really affect them, what the political alliances. They usually tend to be not skewed. And I was watching Al Jazeera, and it's, for those of you who don't know, it's the United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia's news source.
Right.
Al Jazeera is the English version of it, and they have English-speaking reporters in the Al Jazeera headquarters in Qatar and Doha and stuff like that.
Right.
Well, anyways, and the dude we just hired comes in, and he sits down, and he's like, oh, we're watching these fucking Haji news outlet. Which, denying the fact that that's extremely racist, I won't even go there with that.
Yeah.
I said I made the comment. It's one of the only media outlets I trust, and I just told you, Fox acts for Republicans, MSNBC and CNN act for the Democrats.
Right.
And he says Fox News is the best media outlet on the planet. At first, I thought he was kidding, and then he was like, I feel like he got the idea what I was about to say, and then he asked, "Who are you gonna vote for in the next election?" Well,
to be completely honest, I don't even know who's running yet.
No one knows.
Okay.
Clinton will probably be the Democratic Party's nominee.
Oh, really?
Hillary, and then I could see Ted. I could see Ted Cruz winning the Republican nomination.
Really?
Yeah, unfortunately. But I told him, I said, I don't really care for the Democrats. In fact, there isn't really a party in the United States my values coincide with.
Not really for me now.
So I told him, I said I would vote Democrat just to vote against the Republican Party.
Right.
Because, and he said, why? Well, first of all, if you ask someone a question, and that's ideological in nature, you can't be pissed off when they give you an answer you don't like. Like,
well, yeah, you're right. You're right on that.
You can't ask someone a question like that and then be offended when they don't agree with you. And I told him why. I said, because the Republican Party want to gut social health care systems. They want to increase an already ridiculous military budget. They want to start wars in like 3 more countries than the 2 we're already involved in.
Yeah.
They're Christian dominionists who, if they had their way, they would force us all to go to church. They would kill gay people. And if you think I'm making this shit up, if you honestly think that I'm being unfair to Christian dominionists, it's not even about the Bible. It's just listen to these televangelists that Ted Cruz and them associate with. Who are like in their meetings. If you do the research and you go and listen to these televangelists talk, I'm sorry, they're insane. They talk about having a punch card that everyone needs to go to church, and if you get fined if you don't have your punch card.
Yeah, that's
to church. So the Republican Party went from being something the total opposite of what it is today to being this like right-wing, dare I use the word fascist, party that's ultra-nationalistic, ultra-imperialist, and they're religious. They're a theocracy. They want to institute this like weird nationalist theocracy empire type thing.
Now, would it be safe to say that doing that would be akin to making it kind of like Sharia law?
They don't distinguish. They distinguish a difference though. Like they don't see like, hey, let's stone gay people, or you shouldn't drink alcohol, or weed is bad, or divorce shouldn't be allowed, or abortion is murder, or we need to destroy all non-Muslims and help the Jews and defeat the Middle East. They don't distinguish that as being any different in their mind. They distinguish that different in their mind than being the same shit that ISIS wants to accomplish.
Right.
I would argue there isn't a difference. I mean, they have roughly the same ideology.
Yeah.
The only difference is that ISIS doesn't believe in Jesus. Like, that's like literally only the main difference between Islam and Christianity. So the idea there, listen, I'm going to say something that's going to offend a lot of people if anyone ever watches this.
Yeah.
The Republican Party is America's ISIS. I'm sorry.
Essentially.
That's what I think, and you might disagree. But if you listen to them talk, they're all pro guns. Let's kill all the immigrants who are in the United States. Yeah, because Jesus said, "Kill the immigrants, arm yourselves, and kill gay people." And we can't help the poor because that's communism. Because that's totally what Jesus said.
Well, it's not the entirety. I'm sure that there are some Republicans that are more moderate, I guess you could say. But the vast majority is.
I've often said that you can't chunk a group like as a whole because of a few bad apples, but
right.
All the candidates who have a chance of winning, with maybe the exception of Marco Rubio, 'cause I haven't heard too much from him. They're
our lovely senator.
You had Ted Cruz, who looks like he's going to be the Republican primary winner, or at least when it starts, he's in the lead.
Right.
Or Mike Huckabee. You got Mike Huckabee, who's this like super right-wing Jesus dude who's like, hey, let's defend Israel, right or wrong to the death, and nuke Iran kind of business. And then you've got Ted Cruz, who called gay rights activists jihadists. I'm not making it up. He said that in a conference, that it's a gay jihad against Christianity. I came to the realization today when I was out biking and I was listening to an audiobook of The Art of War when I was riding.
Yeah.
And one of the things Sun Tzu talks about is sometimes you don't even need to fight an enemy. They'll destroy themselves.
Right.
And that's exactly what, I'm sorry, this is going to be more opinionated than other videos. Evangelical Christianity will destroy itself. No one needs to say anything.
Probably, yeah.
Just keep letting them talk, and they'll destroy their own religion.
Yeah.
Because, if you look at the statistics on the Pew Research Center,
yeah,
the amount of people who identify with an organized religion in the United States has dropped by like 10% in the last 30 years.
That's considerable.
And then in Europe, it's dropped even further. Over 60% of the population of European countries don't identify as religious. So,
wow.
Unfortunately, I wish I could celebrate the death of like literal Christianity, but unfortunately, it's going to be replaced by Islam
or something else.
Some studies say that by 2070, Islam will be the world's largest religion by population.
Huh.
So. You're trading one nut. I don't want to say nut. One belief system for another.
Yeah.
But anyways, we're off topic because we got onto political. So it's.
Well, that's. Realistically, like you said, it's a loaded question. A lot of it's going to be political.
It is because it's all tied together.
Yeah.
But steering the metaphorical bicycle back on track.
I can't ride a bike, so it's fine.
So someone asked you, do you believe in God? Well, okay, so we've already said, A, that's a loaded question, and B, why do you want to know? But C, I think it's called a false dichotomy when you assume there's only two choices.
Yeah.
That it's either one thing or the other. There is no other alternative choice.
Right.
For example, if I told you to do math and get to 324 as a number, that's like saying that there's only two possible ways you could get to 324. It's not logically correct.
Yeah.
There's any number of ways you could get to the number 324. So to assume that there's just two answers. And then, at least for me, how do you define God?
Yeah.
Philosophers have been debating this question for the last 12,000 years.
Because that's a question you should always ask. Do you believe in God? Well, first you have to tell me which God. Who's God?
Or not even which God. What do you mean by God? Like, Are we talking about nature? Are we talking about a specific deity or an anthropomorphic deity, a
Because
demigod?
because if you say something like a powerful being much more than ourselves, shit, aliens could be that way.
An elephant is stronger than a human being. I mean, if you say something greater than a human being. So
Okay, have blue whale then.
you,
You
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 have to
could say
you have to be specific,
right.
and I can guarantee you, without being arrogant, 90% of the time when people ask you that, they're Christian and they're specifically referring to
Yeah, the Judeo-Christian
the
deity.
Judeo-Christian belief system.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's operate for the sake of argument. Say we are talking about the Judeo-Christian God, Yahweh, the Trinity, Jesus, all that,
Right.
the Bible, and okay. So for the sake of argument, we'll assume that that's God.
Mm.
Okay, so whose version of that God? You've got Catholicism, you've got Anglicanism, Pentecostals, Seventh-day Adventists, Presbyterians.
Well, I will be the what's it called? I will be the devil's advocate in that. When you say who's God, my God. I want. Do you believe in my God?
Your God, like you personally?
No, I'm being the devil's advocate.
Well, so then you would ask them, well, who's your God? And then they'll look at you all confused as if like the idea of another religion is entirely strange to them. They'll say the true God.
The one true religion.
The one true religion. Okay, so 5 billion other people on the planet are wrong.
Yes.
You got the like 1.8 billion Confucianist, Shinto, and other Asian religions like Taoism and whatnot. And then you've got the billion plus Hindus in India.
Billion plus Muslims.
And then you've got dozens of African and South American religions and Orthodox and Judaism. So
I mean, shit, pantheism is still around.
So all those people are wrong, and your way is the only way.
Of course.
It's a silly question. I don't like to say there are stupid questions, but it's a stupid question. And it's a stupid question because I don't understand why you would ask it. B, it's a loaded question. And C, do we even have an understanding of what God is?
Yeah, because like you said, people have been trying to define God for decades. I mean, that's the whole reason we're in this problem.
I mean, they had whole theological debates on how many angels could fit on the head of a pin in the 15th, the 14th, like to the 17th century. They would have theological debates about like how many angels there are and what kind of trumpet Gabriel plays in Catholicism. So I hate the question. And then when you give them an answer, like the one I'll give, and this kind of goes sidetracked, and feel free to interject. I don't want to be the only person talking.
Sure.
But I feel like the older we get, the less we know. I mean, for thousands of years, we were like, well, humans are the most intelligent because we can make tools and stuff. The thing I was reading today shows that assuming that intelligence is like a ladder and not a tree is like assuming that because you talk to someone who speaks broken English, they're a moron.
See, working in a place from the South, a lot of people are Republican or conservative, and we have a lot of a Hispanic community down here. That's what like, most people think.
That they're just fucking stupid because they don't speak English very well.
Yeah. And that's
why I say a lot of Judeo-Christianity has almost become like a staple of American nationalism.
Right.
Like, it's not really about Christianity anymore.
Right. It's... Yeah.
The older we get, even as a species, the less we know.
Right.
5 years ago when we started the Blasphemy broadcast, we thought we knew everything. And now here we are. We probably know less than we did when we were younger.
Yeah.
Or at least I do,
It's like that one song lyric, I know less and less about more and more.
So, the more I see, the less I know.
I don't know what that is, but yeah.
But I think that my answer I usually give is that I think there are many paths to the same place or the same conclusion. Like everything Everything is a piece of the truth. There's never. Have you ever seen that movie? I want to say it's called Vantage Point, where there was like a bombing and like 7 different people were videotaping the event.
I didn't see it, but I wanted to.
And like they tracked the people down to find the different parts.
And everyone had a different
point of view.
Story of everything.
So, if you look at humanity as like one global experience, just the human experience,
right?
I think Christianity has a part in the bigger truth,
right?
Because if there is a God, it speaks to its creations in different ways. And it means different things to different people. Because even if it's not like this thing that directly interferes with your life, which I don't believe it is. I mean,
right?
Why would God favor humans over cheetahs? Like it doesn't make much sense to me.
If you would have read Genesis, you would have found out.
If there was like a true God, like almost like the Einsteinian God, where something that set things in motion, and then there it is. It doesn't interfere. It just kind of started shit, and it's rolling a certain way. I could buy that. From a strictly like academic and objective perspective, I think that's about as far as truly 100% to my core, like believing in God.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could give you that.
Because it is true, even though it's totally in a bullshit context, it is true that to say with 100% certainty there is no God, or even with a 90% certainty is, I would say, at least irresponsible.
Right.
Because, to play the devil's advocate here, in the brief maybe 6,000 years we've even attempted any kind of science, to think we can begin to understand a universe that's 14.5 billion years old with 100% certainty,
right,
is ludicrous.
Yeah, we are one species on a tiny rock adrift of an ocean of eternity, and we think that we know everything about it.
And you know, it's people like Hawking and Sagan
Stephen
and Tyson,
Hawking, yeah.
And those great minds, and Newton. It's a piece of the greater truth,
right?
And playing the devil's advocate some more, science can change and things can be discovered which disprove earlier things and whatnot. Apparently the Triceratops never existed.
Really?
Yeah, it's
one of my favorite dinosaurs.
That's like actually was in National Geographic not too long ago.
I didn't hear that.
That it was a mix-up between 2 different types of animals.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but I remember reading something about it. So things can be wrong. Even Dawkins says that you can never be 100% sure.
Yeah.
And if anyone has any evidence to disprove evolution, bring it to the table.
Yeah, if anyone had any evidence, then you know, any true evidence that would change things, you'd be hailed as a hero. The entire world would change.
So bring it. You know, if you have something, go ahead and you bring it, and we'll look at, and the scientific community would look at it. I don't believe for a second that like Dawkins has anything to personally gain from evolution being true. You know,
not really. He's going to be teaching it.
Yeah, or that Tyson like has something monetary gain or notoriety.
With science and everything, it can be just as zealous. Is that the word? Zealous and you know, have the same fervor as many religious people. You know, some atheists are just the same about science as Christians are about God.
I would. Well, that's true, but I would also argue, whereas with religion there is an incentive to know to be wrong and still be wrong.
Right.
Where in science there isn't. Like, you have nothing really to gain by staying wrong. Whereas in a religion, if you stay wrong, you get to heaven, you get your 72 virgins, you live forever, you know, that whole thing. But it's such a nebulous question. And so then when you say something like, oh, well, I kind of believe in God, I'm not sure how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Or I've kind of settled on, you know, God speaks to us in different ways. And if you want to truly know something about God, you need to understand all the facets of it. That means studying Hinduism, studying Buddhism, studying paganism, studying Christianity, studying Islam. Understand the bigger pieces of it and incorporating science into that. So you chip away irrelevancies, and it can all corroborate parts of itself. Not the whole thing.
Right.
You can't accept the whole testimony of the Bible as 100% utter truth because it contradicts itself.
Right.
And so, but there are parts of the Bible that may actually be parts of the truth. If you want to get super metaphorical, in the beginning there was light. Well, there was I won't call it the Big Bang, but the big expansion.
Right.
Because bang gets conflated with explosion. So you could argue that primitive people had a primitive metaphorical understanding of life. They were just wrong on certain things.
Right.
So I think you could eventually see kind of like this amalgamation of every religion.
Yeah.
That makes one.
Isn't that, what's it called, like a Universalist or something like that? Aren't there already some like that?
Yeah, that's kind of what I am. I started going to this Unitarian Universalist church, which it's kind of funny to even say the name. It's like a redundancy, Unitarian Universalist.
Yeah, but hey.
But that's basically what I won't say we, but that's basically what Unitarians believe, is that everything is part of a bigger truth.
Gotcha.
Science included. Not everything is 100% true.
Gotcha.
Everything has something to offer. Everything has a part to play, and you take away the parts that fit in with the greater whole and make something better. It's kind of like, and maybe in the future I could see like some amalgamation of every type religion combined, because Unitarians also have atheists, and they also have humanists. It's not about God. It's about, in their words, freedom of conscience to discover your own spiritual experiences.
Huh.
So there are atheists there. I met a couple. There were a couple humanists, a couple Wiccans, a Hindu dude, and a Buddhist dude, and most of them were Christians. But Unitarianism has its roots in Christianity.
Gotcha.
But they were the Christians that were like hung and persecuted and burned for heresy and whatnot. So I could see something like that, or that nebulous, vague, you define what you think is God kind of experience. I could buy that, and because when it comes to spirituality, it doesn't really fucking matter if it's true.
Huh.
I don't think it is. I mean, unless you go to the point where you're like, well, I have to kill you now because you don't believe in Zeus, so I have to fucking kill you.
Right.
Because it's not the message. Like, an example. There's a story I was listening, because Unitarians are a small group.
Right.
There's only like 800,000 of them in the world.
Wow. Okay, yeah.
So they do like their sermons and stuff online.
Oh, that's actually kind of cool.
And one of these dudes was talking about a story he read about how there was this boy named Tony who had cancer, and his like home health aide or something, Vicky, put out this ad that was like, raise money to help Tony and kids with cancer awareness and blah 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 blah, and all these celebrities got involved in it. Millions of dollars were raised. Well, come to find out, the kid Tony never existed.
Oh, really?
Like, this lady Vicky had made the whole story up, but yet this story that moved so many people got them motivated to donate all this money to create these cancer care organizations and to start focusing on this problem. So he then applied it to the idea of God. He said, does it, just like Tony, does it really matter whether or not God exists? I mean,
I like that.
Does it really matter if it motivated people to do something good? Like, this is one of the things that was said at the end of this huge, because this debate at work kind of went from politics to like creationism and just the whole works of stuff. We hopped from like the Republican Party and Iran to like evolution in 3 minutes, which
yeah. Don't even worry about all that.
So I don't. Where was I? I'm just venting, people. I'm sorry if I'm ranting.
No, I'm kind of interested in listening.
But the one dude said, at the end of the day, none of it really matters. He said because only a couple percent of the people in the world are those astronomers, those astrophysicists,
Right.
those people who genuinely care about the topic. The people who work at McDonald's and go to see movies on Friday nights and work and go on vacations, it doesn't really matter whether or not they accept evolution. Like,
Right.
it doesn't have an impact on whether or not it's true.
Right.
It doesn't matter. And I would even go as far as to say I'm okay with the idea of teaching creationism in schools. But before you chew me out on this, it can't be in science class.
Yep.
And you have to teach all of them.
Yep.
The entire
maybe not all of them, because that is a lot.
The major ones. I think everyone should take a world religions course because it's such a huge part of human history. I mean, more people have been killed in the name of God than for any other reason.
That's true. Well, yeah, when because I took it for my college, and it's interesting to learn about different religions, see how similar a lot of them are.
It opens your mind.
Mm-hmm.
People need to travel more, and they need to experience other cultures to truly become better people. And at least that's what I think. So I have no problem with teaching, like, Christianity in a public school on the condition that A, it can't be taught in science class,
Right.
and B, if you're going to teach it, it should be a year-long course all throughout high school, but you need to cover all of them to be fair. You
Right.
need to cover Islam, you need to cover Judaism, you need to cover paganism, you need to cover Wicca. You need, if the religion has over 100,000 people that practice it, you need to cover it.
Yeah, because that is a sizable portion of the population.
If like 0.5% of the population of the earth practices it, there's a chance that at some point in your life you'll run into someone who believes it.
Yeah.
So it would take all of a week to cover a major religion in depth. So I don't lose my shit when like other atheists say, "Oh, keep the Bible out of school." I don't have a problem with you teaching the Bible. I have a problem if it's the only one and it's the only one you allow.
Yeah.
Because that's not fair to that's not fair to me.
Yeah.
Having started going to a Unitarian thing, or people who are humanists, or people who are Buddhists, it's not fair.
Right.
How can you have liberty and justice for all when you only accept one version in school?
Yep, you need to accept everything or nothing.
I'm not saying you should endorse it, but Scientology, enough people practice it in there where it needs to be addressed so that if you ever meet a Scientologist, you are not completely ignorant.
Right. You
of
not
their
just
beliefs.
say, "Oh, I know what I know because there's a South Park episode of you once."
Yeah, you need to have some form of education. So I stand apart from other atheists on that. I don't see a problem with it. I just have a problem with you teaching it as fact. I don't even have a problem. Okay, I'll go even further. I don't have a problem if the professor is a Christian, and in the Christianity section he says, "This is what I believe and this is why," and blah 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 blah. I don't even have a problem with that. What I have a problem with is when he says that science is bullshit and there's zero truth. You keep math in math class, you keep English in English class, and you keep history in history class. You're not talking about fucking particle physics and quantum physics in history, world history class.
Yeah.
It's not relevant. If you want to talk about it, go to the quantum physics class, or go to the world religions class.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a problem with it, and other atheists will want to burn me at the stake for saying that. But it helps create understanding, and who knows, you might even make more atheists if you teach the Bible.
Yeah, you never know.
Other religions.
Might convert other atheists to religion by teaching the Bible.
The second thing other atheists are going to burn me at the stake for is that the whole thing about gay marriage and churches and stuff.
Personally, I don't care. Do what you do.
I actually stand apart. I don't think that the state should force churches to hold gay marriages or even honor them.
Well, because it's not a part of their religion.
It's not a part of their religion, and to a degree.
And a marriage,
I don't have a problem.
A marriage in the church sense is a religious
I have no
ceremony.
problem with the idea you can still call it marriage,
Sure.
but I don't think the federal government has a right to come into St. Paul's Catholic Church and say, hey, if you don't have a host this wedding for this gay couple in your church, we're going to fine you and call you bigots. And I don't think that's fair. I don't think you should be able to force a church to hold a ceremony that their religion doesn't agree with.
I'll give you that, yeah.
But I think it should be illegal for two gay people to have the same rights. Like, if you want to go to a courthouse, I knew a friend who literally went to the courthouse and 5 minutes later she was married.
Dang.
I won't mention any names, but you know that person.
Yeah, I'm probably sure I know who it is.
So, if you want to go to a courthouse, you get the same rights, you share property, that's fine. But to go to little St. Paul's Catholic Church and say, you guys are bigots because your church, a gay couple wanted to have their wedding here and you wouldn't allow it. I don't think that's fair to them.
I mean, I will give you that, because that is essentially going against their beliefs and religion.
That'd be like me going to a Hindu temple on like their feast day and bringing steak and being pissed off when they kicked me out for bringing steak to their wedding.
Yeah.
And then me suing them and going to the federal government and saying, hey, I want you to force the Hindu church to serve me steak. Or I want to bring pork to a mosque.
Yeah.
On their feast day.
And then be angry at them when they get essentially angry at you. Yeah.
Now, I won't defend the people who are like, we need to kill gays and it makes me sick and God's gonna burn America down for it. I won't defend them, but you shouldn't force the church to honor it.
No, because it's the church's belief on what it is that it's doing.
And you know, as far as the whole thing with Indiana, like being able to, for wedding shops or any shop to discriminate because you're gay, the question I have is, how do you even know they're gay? Like, I can see the wedding shop. Like, if you come to the wedding shop and you're like, I'm Bill and this is my boyfriend Steve, because contrary to popular belief, not all gay men talk like this. Or all gay girls are like, oh my god, can you believe that shit? No, that's not how fucking people talk.
Yeah, but then that would go against society's version or vision of the gays, and we can't have that.
Ian McKellen's gay. Would you notice that at first look?
He's not. He's too man to be gay.
He's gay. George Takei is gay. Mr. Sword fighting Sulu.
Everyone knows that.
But see, if at first glance at him, would you think that man's gay?
He does kind of have it. Like when he talks, he kind of has the gay feel to him.
Anderson Cooper. Do you know who Anderson Cooper is?
I kind of felt that way before even like seeing him. I kind of feel that way. But
He's
Ian
gay.
McKellen, I didn't know.
Ian McKellen's gay as a fucking rainbow, man.
Well, it turns out Dumbledore's really gay. Wait, he's not Dumbledore.
No.
Never mind.
Magneto and Gandalf. Gandalf.
Gandalf can't be gay.
Gandalf.
Show me your hobbit hole.
But I don't even understand how you would know someone is gay. Like, so you come into my shop, and I'm a mechanic, and I have the right to discriminate you against if you're gay because it offends my religious beliefs.
Okay.
How am I going to know you're gay? Hey man, I need you to fix the carburetor on my car. Here's $100. You're a fag. I don't want to serve you. How do you know? Did he come in with a shirt in big bright letters that said I'm gay, or I like penis, or he wore capris, which I don't really believe in gender roles, but guys who wear
don't even get into that.
Guys who wear capris, I'm sorry. That's your thing, that's cool. You want to wear capris? That's fine.
Yeah.
But I just want to know how people, wedding shops I can see that. I can see them finding out that someone's gay. But a pizza shop, like, how does a pizza shop know if you're gay unless you're slobbering all over your boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever in the pizza shop? How do they know? Well, maybe if you're holding hands.
Yeah, I mean, that'll kind of give it away.
You know, and even if you knew they were gay, and even if you decided that you didn't want to serve them, all you're doing is hurting yourself. You're losing their business. So, so that's on you. Okay, so what? They can't get pizza there. Big deal. God, but maybe I sound like a bigot saying that. I don't know.
You know what?
Go to another pizza shop. There's bound to be one pizza shop that serves gay people and wants their money. If I own a business, I don't care if you're, I don't remember. This is gonna piss people off. I don't care if you're a Klans member and you come in a white hood. If you want a fucking pizza, I'm gonna sell you a pizza because I want my money.
If you're gonna pay me, then who?
If you're gonna pay me, just please leave as soon as you can. So don't see me.
Well, yeah, because I mean, realistically, your sexual orientation doesn't matter, doesn't change anything with business transactions. You know, if you're a gay man, so what? You might buy a little bit more sheets and pillows than the average man, but you're still going to be given, you know, you're still going to give Walmart your money. You're still going to give Bed Bath & Beyond your money.
Yeah.
They're still making money regardless. It shouldn't matter if they're gay. They just come in, okay, here, take it, bye, get out of my shop.
I would be interested to see, out of all the probably tens of thousands of businesses in Indiana, I would be interested to see how many have actually come out and said, we won't serve gay people.
I'm going to say probably not too many.
I would agree. Why? Because regardless of whether or not you agree with it, I'm making money. It doesn't, I don't care if you were like a Jewish Nazi and you come in with a swastika. If you want to buy something, I'll sell it to you. But even if I don't want to sell it to you, that's my right as a business owner. Right. I mean, I thought most business owners have the right to refuse service.
Yep. Or they should.
The only ones I think can't are like hospitals.
Right.
So, but it's also ridiculous because this idea, well, we need to protect religious freedom in Indiana. That's why it's called the Religious Freedom Bill. The First Amendment of the Constitution does that. Yeah. Why'd you have to make a whole new law? It doesn't even make any sense.
No, it really doesn't. But
not to jump on the liberal bandwagon, but
your views have been bouncing around everywhere.
Well, because I don't throw myself into a category and say, oh, I'm a liberal, or I'm a goddamn conservative. I like guns and God and money. And Jesus hates the Jews.
And I definitely don't like guys. Guys are gay.
You know what? I may piss people off on both sides of the fence, but I don't really care.
You know what? It's like that old saying, if you make enemies, you're doing something right.
Yeah, so make enemies on both sides of the border. Whatever. Go. Both arguments can be fucking absolutely ridiculous. Like people just are so quick to throw themselves into a category. I'm a liberal. I'm a conservative. Praise Jesus.
I'm a liberal. I want everyone to love each other. I want free everything for everyone. You know, you could do with any of them.
So,
I'm a Tea Partyist. We're fucking crazy.
Are you guys, if anyone ever watches this, even if we're long dead?
In the event that anyone ever watches this, let us know your views.
This is kind of like a time capsule video.
And in another 5 years, we'll come back to it and we'll be like, oh my god. The hell happened?
Watch, we'll both be ministers 5 years from now.
Hey, I am actually ordained, thank you.
Heretic.
I am a non-religious ordained minister, okay?
But since this is an open rant, I really don't give a shit how long we talk, man. Because we're at 47 minutes now.
Are we really? Yeah, we're at 700 megabytes.
And we can edit out.
No, I'm not going to edit 47 minutes of anything. I don't care. I'm just going to put the whole thing up.
You think anyone would watch like an hour and a half long video?
Bro, people watch the Co-optional podcast. That's 3 hours every week.
In one episode?
Yeah. People love watching podcasts. It's something for them to do on like long drives or boring nights or something.
Yeah, because to me it doesn't really matter if people view it. It's good for me, like a time capsule.
Yeah.
Of like how views change over the years, and just conversing.
And oh man, have our views changed over the years.
I'm less eager to throw myself into it because I used to think I was everything. Like, yeah, I'm a Marxist and I'm an atheist. and I'm a sec. I was like, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this.
Mm-hmm.
Now I even hesitate to call myself anything. Like, I don't want to put myself in a category. And that's, if anyone I doubt they'll ever see this, but I was kicked out of the Communist Party when I was in it.
Oh, that's true. You were, weren't you?
I was kicked out of it because they were too left for me. They were too liberal. Like, one of the arguments I heard one time was that it was like how gender. One of the biggest things was like this neo-feminazi stuff.
Right.
Like, pink is a gender assignment color given to girls, and it's to remind them of the color of their vaginas, so they can suppress us and show us our lack of masculinity.
Or it could be a color they like.
I'm not even making that shit up. That's what they said. Or they would say things like, I don't have to shave my armpits. That's the patriarchy bossing me around and telling me what to do.
Or you don't like hair in certain places, because, I mean,
so
nasty.
They were too left for me. And they also had this, like, super duper cop hating binge. Now, I won't lie.
Really?
It's easy. It's super easy to hate police if you spend 10 minutes watching videos of police brutality on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's super easy, and I've done it. Even last week I was raging about it. But you got to at least try to pull yourself back from the emotional tirade and be like, think about this rationally for a second. I looked up the statistics. There are like 30,000 police stops every year in the whole United States, which means somebody is pulled over or contacted. That's called police contacts. 300,000 something police contacts every year. So the time that a police officer makes contact with a citizen.
Okay.
Police make up like 0.005% of the United States population. They're like maybe 60,000, 70,000 of them in the United States, something like that. Maybe 600, I could be wrong, but it was a really tiny number. So out of all the times you may have interacted with the police, out of all the people who have alleged excessive force,
yeah,
and then the ones that have actually been proven to be excessive force, or that were even brought to court, that there was even a charge filed, not whether or not they were convicted, but that a charge was filed, that number shrinks to like 0.16%.
Yeah.
So you have a 0.1% chance if you ever run into a police officer that they're either going to kill you or tase you or do something to you.
That's not too bad, or that's just kind of a bad statistic. 0.16, I mean, shoot. That could happen at any time.
You are 14 times more likely to get raped and murdered than you are
to deal with an angry cop
or abusive cop. Right. Don't get me wrong, they exist.
Oh, of course they do.
They're out there. And maybe it's because I'm white and privileged, and that was another reason I left the Communist Party. The whole white privilege nonsense. That the only reason I'm anything is that I have an education is because I'm white, or that I'm privileged, so I don't know what it's like to suffer.
No.
Well, let me tell you how I feel living on cups of ramen noodles for 3 fucking years and tell you how privileged I feel.
Motherfucker, I'm still on ramen, okay?
So they were extreme for me, and I spoke out against them, and they told me to leave. Same thing happened with American Atheists. If you remember that whole story with David Silverman, and it wasn't from him, but it was from like his regionally headquarter person who kicked me out of the group. So, when you put yourself in a group, if you don't conform, you're just as easily ostracized as if you were in part of a religion.
Yeah.
It's the herd dynamic. Like lemmings. Jump off a fucking cliff, guys.
I don't know. I don't even know where this is going.
I don't either. It's just pointless ranting.
Sometimes.
Is this even how podcasts go? I've only listened to like Joe Rogan's podcast.
Yeah, actually. It pretty much just jumps around until it stops.
So I was thinking.
Oh, God.
This is really just us talking and recording. If you want to post the whole fucking thing, whatever.
I'm going to.
I have an idea.
Okay.
I want to, as part of the channel, want to interview people of different religions, but fully tell them what our channel is about.
Okay.
And ask their opinions on some current events and their core values, and incorporate them into the videos.
I mean, you can do that if you want. For the time being, you're going to have to do it solo.
Yeah. There's a couple hours away from here, but eventually there's a Hindu community up in Shreveport, which is like 2 hours away.
Right.
There's also a Muslim community. So, provided I'm not murdered in the hills of Louisiana by Hindus.
I mean, that's not too much of a...
But send them an email ahead of time. I'm not going to tell them the name of our channel.
Right.
But tell them that we are secular in nature and we just have some questions about their belief. But as a return of the courtesy, we have to also not bash them too much.
Right.
We need to not just come in here with our cocks out and bashing the shit out of them for
yeah
their beliefs.
Well,
We can blaspheme, but we can blaspheme gently. Fuck her gently.
there's a Teddy Roosevelt quote in there somewhere.
Fuck her gently.
No. Excuse you.
Speak softly, but carry a big dick or stick.
Yeah, like
Have you ever thought about how big an elephant's cock is?
And with that, if you guys want to see more, don't forget to subscribe. But for the time being,
This is what happens when you don't believe in God. You degenerate from an intelligent argument to an argument about elephant cocks.
You know, okay, there's a time and place for elephant cocks, and it's not on this podcast. Thank you. Anyways, we're gonna sign out for tonight. So thank you guys so much. We'll see ya. Bye bye.